right? And then there's Taguig. Taguig first point is key vectors incorporated in the election. There is 22 irises, so those are the outputs in the news, and yet the 69 perspective election occurs, meaning that we are fighting with life about a little time in the U.S. Our William Cameron was published by Taguig. This presentation was focused on the PHvote 2013. If you go down, you can see here where the election occurs received 69%, and we graph the bar is the two investors to March and Omega. And let's look at the other page. Teenagers, still dominate the election. Here is the top story, much closer a few minutes ago. And CBO, and the unsung heroes of the election display that look around you where you are. Healthy earth, taking care of political dynasty, and of course, a gorgeous benefit local work. We'll be covering work yet one later. Now, let's take a look at other votes. When you go on Rapper, you can hit everybody to read out Rapper.com, and you can get what's last in the moment about 30 minutes. Yeah. You're right. We've added a new regular Rapper visitor. You'll notice there's something new on the front page of our site. This is all this is what's called our election results navigation bar. They have several options for you to choose from. My suggestion, I will want to guide all of them. Start with the Senate race. A quick study over here called Circles. And we put that, it will load on Senate's results page. And take a look at this. It's a graphical representation now. We also have a page with a text-only listing of all the results and the vote check. Right after the divisional round, and let's take a look at the latest results at 4:48 p.m. Turnout is now at 64.29%. Still leading the way. Great choice. 14,649,941. And second place. 18,409,000 for Laura in the Vanguard. Third, Ari Califano. Fourth, Team Escudo. Fifth, Nancy Vina. Sixth, Colonel Bob. Damakino, Pepe Pimentel, Trillanes, Villano, Ejército, and rounding out the top of Gilda Vinasa of Puna, it has that 9,520,000 votes. And take a look at number 13, Dick Gordon, has 9,088,000. He's roughly about 400,000 votes away or high of the first spot. We've been tracking the results over the course of the last 2 days. It's probably, I think, it's been 24 hours since the results started coming in. And nothing much has changed since. There was a little bit of a section between Cleopatra and Escudero at the beginning of these polls, or at the beginning of the results period. Escudero was number 3 and Cayetano was 4th, but that has changed this afternoon, and Cayetano is pulling away and really making that third spot off of his face. Now, there's a lot to do with this. I will tell you about the text of them. And I want to say how we can see that we have the first button called Early Vote. So you click that, what you will see is what I talked about earlier. It's just a text listing, and it will also load the same thing I talked about. So if you just want to say that if you're on a web browser, on a smartphone, or a mobile device, then this is probably the easiest route. Because it will definitely load faster than the virtual thing. You take a look at the right status, and you can also check out transmission status. You can check out the various regions in the country and see what the status of transmission is like. Over 50% of sector and there's an even cooler level to monitor the transmission status. Go down to take a look at the frequency status, but this feature will load the map and focus. It's almost like a weather map when we think about it, because we have these gradients. We Rapper, when we were putting together this map, we were thinking, what would the colors be, Maria? Red is for those areas that have not transmitted or transmitted radio, and blue is when you're in the clear and everything is okay. Take a look at the first one. So everything is pretty much in blue at this point, like it's very for most part of the afternoon. Light blue, meaning 61 to 80% of people recruited from committed data. There are still a few spots in the country, northern Luzon, this area, where almost major stroke light tech machines, they have something that about 41 to 60% of votes. The trouble spot, as you can see, that dark red over there. Let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see a bit better. This is the autonomous region of Northern Mindanao. This is the dark red compared to that light pink and that light blue, which means, if you take a look at the legend, they have only counted about 21 to 40% of the votes. Let me go back to the other options. You can also check out the playlist for the votes. Now, this might be a bit confusing, but don't worry, we have the legend set up for you so you can understand this even better. Three colors to look out for. Orange means that the playlist group has received more than 4% of the total number of votes cast. Red means they have received 2%, at least 2%, but no less than 4% of the votes cast. And this blue-gray is for a vote playlist which will have less than 2%. If you're a part of this group and you want to have at least 2% of the total votes cast, which means you're assured of at least one seat in the House of Representatives. 6 groups over the course since this morning to this afternoon have maintained steady on this list. Buhay, True Teacher, Bayan Muna, One Care, Bayan, and Upload People. Now, for example, you find something that you're really interested in. For example, I would like to share with my friends on social media this full map about the results of the playlist group. Scroll up on every page, you'll notice these very familiar social media sharing buttons. You can follow on the internet. You can click on any one of them to share the results with your friends on social media. All you have to do is press the button, reload the page. They've already prepared text for you. You can go ahead and do that. Press send. And there you go. Tweet. And I set we have 220 followers on social media. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of data. Rappers, technical team is working hard there in the last few weeks in order to gain these visualizations. So we really call out to everyone to go out, especially if you take a look at your regions and you notice a transmission is not completed or there's already been a transmission you might want to look at and monitor the results. You don't have to be at the precinct level. You don't have to be at the municipal canvassing centers to be able to watch the results. So watch them online using Rappler's election results. All you have to do is go to Rappler.
Yes, thanks so much. Now let's afternoon the results. Let's talk to Paterno Esmaquel, who's been covering Kamala leading up to the elections and on election day. He's a PICC now watching the results the commission working on. Paterno, what do you think? Thanks, Paterno. Can you give us an idea? Explain the difference between what we're getting, the draft is forward, which is the unofficial form that is much further ahead. You've got nearly 69% counted, and the official count that you're doing. What's the difference and what's the purpose of it?
We have these three main sources that get the election results from each of the teams directly. And the only official survey, the official representative official results, is the only official year of candidature survey, which was limited to provincial board of candidates and focused on the complex website. But complex term and the brand is always talking about the only source of the question. They come from PICC and the government expects to proclaim the winners of this year's election tomorrow, actually.
Fantastic. There's been some announcements now that this is the same as in 2010, but before all the votes were counted, Commonwealth was actually approved the declaration of winners. What's the idea? What's the reasoning behind this?
You were talking about last year, Maria?
Yes. At the last press conference, Commonwealth Chair Teacher Williams said that they can go ahead and actually declare winners even if the votes haven't all been counted. What's the reasoning behind this?
This Chairman Williams was talking about local regions. He wanted to set a census in areas with isolations like Manila, Baguio, Cavite. He wanted to have some finality in terms of the result. But even if the uncounted votes are relatively negligible, he is allowing the board of the regional director, the regional election director, to disregard, to decide to disregard these votes and proceed with the declaration of winners in these areas.
And what's going to be done for those who were disenfranchised or any of the, where there were delays, any precincts where there were delays in either getting the materials to them or transmitting? What will happen to those voters today?
The disenfranchised voters, particularly those in Baguio and Compostela, in general, they will not be able to capture votes anymore. Unless the difference, the margin between the candidates and opponents are so thin, and they will have to reconsider the votes of these people and move special election. But special election in this area, so someone proves that they will not be able to the general state amount, they will not be able to vote.
Okay, I think we just lost as we look at PICC, looking at the canvassing right now. We're going to go backwards. So far, everything seems to be proceeding smoothly. Let's move on. Let's go to Tell many doctrine images, ways. It's a number between citizen journalists and professional journalists. Citizen journalists who have a little bit of training, who worked with us over the last few weeks and months. So Douglas is working with them along with the new team there. What do you have? Right now, we have a great report from Therapy Press. Katabagao, as Congresswoman of the Low District United Province, with 25,617 votes, defeating Gwen Gaylor, the youngest member of the PHvote, by 3,240 votes. Gwen garnered 22,269 votes. So our next part of the hour news is, can I ask you, why is that significant for Katabagao? Katabagao is a human rights lawyer and is actually defeating Gwen Clay, who's the youngest member of a very powerful political class in Vietnam. And it is the first time that Gwen Clay did not win the congressional race in Vietnam province. So our next report is from Paula as a movie and rapper ambassador. And last night, she was covering the random audit for barangay stores in Bacolod City, the lower district. And in that last night, there were 5 principals who conducted the random manual audit. And he said that 829 votes were cast by locals of barangay 40, and that it is a total case from Melcomelec, and that there were people that random manuals started, the audit started at 12:15 a.m. in 14 days, ended only 14 hours after that. He said that what he witnessed was very inspiring because the teachers, first timers and second timers, were both working hard so that the random manual audit would be finished as early as possible. He said that first timer Lourdes Paula Oliver Lourdes Paula said that it was a very tiring experience, but he said she had to do it in order to ensure that elections were fair and honest. And second timer Cherry Floor said that it was easier this time than in 2010 elections because they have less positions to count for this election because, of course, they're only counting for the mayor race, vice mayor race, and the congressman, or the councilors of the province. And she said that she admires these auditors because they don't have any provisions from the government and they only rely on donations of food allowance from those who visit them in the schools. And that wraps up today's this hour's probably.
Thanks, Kayla. Let's go on to popular news content. Catherine has been covering the contentious race in Taguig, the win of the ladies and decoration there. Catherine, what's the latest?
I am here in the candidacy center in Taguig, and we are gearing up for this long manual transmission of results. But the news here, we are cautiously optimistic because we're really in the Congress phase. We're right next to the city hall. She's been the mayor for the past 3 years. Lonnie Congress was Senator Colin Peter Congress. So we feel lots of supporters for her. And the last time we were given an official count, the breakdown was that she had about 60% of the vote. But we are seeing too that as these results come in, these results that were transmitted electronically, wirelessly, they're being played generally. The team has been very good to challenge these results. So we're still seeing that a little bit of a divide, but mostly optimistic here just because of who's here.
How would you characterize the people who are watching this happen now? We can talk about the leaders up to this, but what about the voters who are watching this?
I've spoken to some voters here at the City Hall, and because we're at the City Hall, they have voted for the incumbent there, Lonnie Congress. So they're very optimistic about what we see so far. But the story here right now is that about half of these votes are being transmitted manually. And the thing of what is seeing that, we see each of these votes, the CF cards, unlike the PICC machines, is envelopes that are supposed to be sealed. And they're raising objections that improper seals and 2 CF cards in the envelope. And one of the representatives from the city of Kent is actually told me that they're considering a failure of election petition with Congress. But that's a very extreme message.
So talking right now, the majority of the votes on something that hasn't been sent to the people, it's already been transmitted to the Black Minnesota at this point, right?
We have 62.9% not sent transmitted. We have 30 more votes to come in. This is a voting population with over 300,000 registered voters.
Okay, hold on one second. After the environment, I'll show you what the curve is. Let's look at what the administrator showed us about the machine. There's a lot of versions of what we have at least platform. As of 4:48 p.m., live on the channel, we contain 56,781 users. Team is 34,459. Trying to load the pickup map and see if we can drill down to the city of Taguig and see. We'll have to figure out what Taguig is on the map. That's not different. So as you can see, it's interesting where we talked about the different colors, right? The National Capital Region is the only area that's predominantly dark blue, which means the majority of the different cities of audience have submitted up to between 81 to 100%. But there is one blue island of pink in the city of blue, and that is actually significant. That's exactly what we do.
So what do we expect to happen next, Daphne?
I think they are going to make sure that each of you, all of these votes, all the answers that the lawyers, all these questions that the lawyers that are raising are answered. They want to make sure that there are no questions here. They're being very simple. And that's why we have talked a lot of money. We ended this counting at 2 a.m. And we waited to resume until 2 p.m. today just so that they could bring in official perspective. Why we have to do whether there's two parties assessment. So they want to take some chances here.
Okay, last pattern is to lay the context and who's running against whom and why is this important.
Essentially, it's interesting because this is the only race in the national constitution where we have two women running against each other. We have 31-year-old Rita Dance who is running against Nancy Thomas, who is the mayor. And these are two things that we have to let go of because keeping different political plans in the game. Rita Dance actually helped the mayor for three terms before Lonnie took it from him. So this is not really a hairline victory. So really the question here is, how does Montana's convince voters over the past 3 years to overwhelmingly get the vote? Or is there still really this divide? And we really have to hear too of the local race because what matters for the mayor, who has the money, is this council, the city council, because in the past, the council has been divided almost so this time, we want to see who is an overwhelming number of councilors that want to support our city council. That will make all the difference in having these programs.
Okay, thank you so much. That's Catherine Wisconsin with a good one talking about earlier. Now on the phone, on the other line, is Helena from Buena, who's been following the elections from the city. Helena, where you know what's happening?
Hi, Amelia. Just to close here the transmission of the results of the election, we have a problem with the archive and particularly the transmission because in some municipalities we're looking at the further ways and if there's a problem with 1%, we cannot complete the total municipality thing. That's what's happening right here. That's what's controlled. So we have to wait for the replacement. The currency of five, so the resources have slipped. What's interesting here is that we've received the results of the Alabama City representatives of administration from the Vietnam America. And it's a double defeat for the Liberal Party candidate because in his very own city, he lost to incumbent Governor Amanda by about nearly 5,000 votes. Also, now who is running for the mayoralty in Alabama City also went to the ally of Governor Estino, former Congressman also elected. So that's the development here right now.
How does that under that boss, given what votes have been counted now, how does that boss affect President Aquino and his administration?
It shows, it makes you question the value of their endorsement. Because you have very strong backers, you have President Aquino and the former President Obama. But it also shows you that politics is really local. Because in local elections, it's not so much about the endorsement, but the person. Because when it's a local election, people would be more familiar with the person as opposed to a candidate running for a national position.
Yes.
So here in Pangasinan, it is a big problem, but they've been more familiar with the personality journey. In the case of Alabama City Mayor Nani Braganza, this is the first time she's getting out of this district. Alabama
Helen, last question. So what do you expect to happen now in the coming hours?
They will have to wait for the PSI to complete the transmission. Otherwise, the fact of Governor Espino has already claimed victory. Governor Espino has not spoken to the media, but his media officer told reporters that because they have exams and they could not go for a lead against Mayor Braganza, and he's already claimed poetic justice. And he said, but he said he's more relieved than victorious because of the attack during the campaign. So this is a public exam examination, but they've already claimed victory.
Okay, and thank you so much for keeping us updated from the tsunami, Taguig province in the Philippines. This time, let's take a look at what Paco's been working on in this hour at our super desk. It's Carlos Santa Maria. Carlos, what story are you on?
I wanted to talk to you a little bit more than in terms of the career in the past few hours. I was just interested in Steve viewed in the home and how it's going to live outside of the Philippines. You can have friends who have been watching for the first cover for the social media. And
just to back out, Carlos Santa Maria, you too work for America SA, the foreign correspondent. Go ahead, Carlos.
It's very, very different. When you come in an election with an international audience, what people want are just graduates. And I'm completely closed out with this subject of the conversation for a lot of while agency working with field writers. Most of them agree on some two major things. First, this vote has been a lot less violent than the previous one, which is a positive trend. And two, that it's referendum on the president both the agenda for reform and it seems like the secretary for us won that competition.
Okay. Anything else for us?
One of the on the fact that on the referendum, especially with what the violence system is saying is that the president's preparing the Senate and victory of the president's platform can give the people a platform. Legislative power to really push the reforms we need to change the country to change the economy. Western was able to tax and represent, but with a majority of the Senate and in the House, who knows what more lives can be passed and how fast they can be passed in the next 4 years.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I will take a very nice result of this. Just kind of go to where the rubber hits the pavement for us. On social media, and social media, we've got million people. Brenda, what's happening? How are people reacting on social media? It's actually been a very few few days. I think everyone is going to be, especially yesterday, first 7 p.m. we started the goal of October, people on social media and that we compiled the reaction feeds from hostile page for the folks. So you can see why the emotions shifted. The people were excited. And even if they were captain of conference, you guys don't know how excited I am. You know the election is. So they can help you with that situation. Just for that. But then, the news broke the cabinet decided to suspend candidates in the and day May 13th. So no expected from steps. And then we talked to people like they were scared, what does this mean? So it's been a very crazy class. Like you are for yes, and like their emotions all over the place. But it also finds out their action so far to how to reveal in the country. So there you have, it's different. You have people very optimistic, very happy, also very positive. So, for example, at Palestine as well, it looks like Filipino will win it too, worst case 19. I just looked at this thing and even some Filipino people. And then another one from Zurt, I read the reaction, and people actually Lang Contingina and Contingina, with the Senate moving towards a more pro-administration move. We also had some reactions from all the populations that were happening this afternoon. For example, we have reactions from Arab population as well as me. So we have someone who doesn't know how you feel And this is another reaction that we have. Urban renewal is now a world class thing. And this is someone who was reacting to the premise of me. Sabi ng era, tutuparin ko ang pangako ko, naiangat ang pamumuhay sa lungsod ng Manila. And then, at Zula Conference, remember, and promise great order is taking back away to keep. That's the thing. But Manila was very optimistic, sabi na maybe he won't come to So, and then we have another surprise in their social media, or along the Philippines, where Earth Coast ranking right now in the Philippines. Wow. We have here, alam ko nakakatakot sa gusto, pero hindi ko nabot sa isip na mamumula siya. So, wala yung Tagalog. Kung ganun, iba pala talaga ang takot sa Earth. And we have another reaction from Paolo Lim. In 3 years, perhaps we will then have to ensure ambition. We have the mom and dad campaign strategy, which is president. In connection to that, actually talked to Brian and Lazarus, who is the son of Jade School. He's actually been, I actually didn't go hang out with us during the last year debate, and I'll just show you part of the hangout. It's called the morning after. So we're hoping people are sober, people are thinking about what the action is based on. So anyway, if you want to watch that hangout, go to rpl.co/PHvote morning after. Brian comes in midway through. So it's very interesting. Brian was talking about how they didn't expect his mom to do that well. He was actually expecting her to round this. And then when a staff member told him that no, she will ask her to do that. So we had that way to go. So that's it for social media. Fantastic. Thank you so much for social media. Very cooking. Now let's take a look at the movie though. We'll be talking about mood this whole time. You can see here, Mood Navigator essentially puts together all of the votes of every single mood meter of every story on Apple and take a look today. It is about 22 hours and a little more than 30 minutes after the post closed. It is a big green flag and it is all election related. We've got the vice that endorsing candidates. That's 59% happy. What's interesting is they stand for PHvote coverage today's coverage of 46% happy. The story that has gotten the most number of votes in the last 24 hours. Yesterday's live coverage, this is what you're watching right now. Take a look at this, and this is kind of an indication of how Filipinos feel about the vote. We got 2% of votes, and perhaps this is because of the count that's coming in. We got 4% in use, 7% vote for, 8% are inspired, 8% angry, 12% are sad, perhaps from the losing candidate, 18% annoyed, and the new supporters of the candidates, and finally, 31% happy. The mood of the day to a record is a lot of green. Today, most people are happy. Before we leave, let's just take a look. There was one last time because they refresh every 2 minutes. Josh Villanova is back on the with his favorite character.
One more time, except for the fact that okay, so I think it's serving this instead. Let's talk to you about how you can use this to watch what's going on in mind of things. If you hover over limbs, over faces, we actually have a pop-up. So for example, if I'm hovering over the faces, Senator Warren take a look at all the votes that we've received and the regions in which the votes came from. Now, this is what I want to show you. I basically put together the notebook in here, and I've listed down, you can open up the votes here for the recording, and then you can open up the votes for the national vote here. And I've taken a look, basically, and you can see that Senator Morgan actually only leads in 1, 2, 3, 4 regions in the Philippines. Of course, Region 2 where he is from, and the National Capital Region, he leads 1.7 million pieces. Senators in
results is to take a look and then dig down deep and try to understand what's going on with these elections.
Okay, so most definitely, we're going to be checking back in. The results are still coming in, and we still have reporters out in the field, social media, we still extremely active. It is nearly 20 hours after the polls closed. We're going to be back to you in a short while. Stay with us, and watch and gather in the field. Keep checking your also on the press. Keep collecting our conversation on Facebook and on Twitter. Use the hashtag report so that we can match the community we've created together for the second part of the election for the Philippines. Rapid coverage.